I'll read it out loud, okay? Michael. Where'd you get on? Michael.
Michael, happy holidays.
Oh, how are you, Michael? Hey, we had a great question on our Instagram page, and I wanted to make sure we were getting together here before the end of the year to answer it. This is from D. Johnson Marie. I have a question that you can address if they can't join us on the latest show. In San Diego is one of the most expensive places in the nation to live. True or false?
It is the number one most expensive place to live in the nation right now.
And how would you know so much about that?
Of course, I live in San Diego County, and I live in arguably the most expensive county in the nation now. So even surpassing San Francisco, I know because I live here and I live here. I own a house here, so I'm paying for the sunshine.
Well, this listener doesn't think they'll be looking to buy a condo in North San Diego County for at least 2 years. Maybe our advice can bring it down to a year. And they were thinking the market price has to drop as it did when they bought condos on Long Beach from 1995 and in 2011. I'd rather wait for the drop, and I know the industry really can't say. What's your best estimate / advice? And let us know to see in your reply. Thank you. I mean, that's the question. I know we addressed it on our show, and I'll let you talk about it. But if you keep listening to our show, you can't just base it on rates, and you can't just base it on current pricing. You talked about it on today's show, how much equity you've already gotten in your own house, in your own savings maybe from COVID. There's many reasons why it can't just be on waiting for prices to drop. Because you said it today on the show. As a renter, you might just end up keep renting. And if they're a homeowner, they might have missed out on an opportunity to get more appreciation or take advantage of their current home.
If you're asking other people what you should do with your own money, that's a problem within itself, right? But the reality is that if you look at any 10-year period of time, at least here in San Diego County, prices have gone up. Even between 2005 to 2015, you may have broken even, but between 2015 to 2020, we saw a significant increase in price. In fact, a doubling of price. In fact, a double and a half of price in that time period. If you go from 1990 to 2000, 1995 to 2005, 2005 to 2010, and between 2005 to 2015, you have that crash in the middle of it too. So any 10-year period of time in San Diego County, even in spite of a crash, we've seen increases. Real estate is not meant to be like an investment where you buy and sell within 1 year. It's meant to be over a longer period of time, hopefully 10 to 30 years. If we can look at that as general advice, then let's buy a house based upon what's going to happen potentially in the next year and a half, but let's buy a house and enjoy it for the next 30 years of our life. It's not date the rate and marry the house. It's buy a house so that you can live in it. And then as long as you can afford it, when rates do come down, they come down. If the prices come down, they come down. If they go up, they go up. It doesn't really matter because you're living in the house. You're not living inside of the investment itself.
Makes sense that if the time's right to find the shelter that you want and you need, if you're worried about valuation, you are going to go up. But disclaimer, when I was during the HARP years, HARP was a program the government came out with because people were underwater and they couldn't get out of their houses or their refinances. There is a chance you can get stuck in a house until it resets. So make sure you buy a house you don't mind being in.
Just remember, and I talked about it on today's show too, in 2019, we had just over 70,000 listed buying units available for sale in the state of California. And right at this moment, we have less than 45,000. So if inventory is down, but we have rates that are going to be coming down, that's going to be higher demand. It's just like, well, let's wait for prices to come down as demand decreases. Well, there is no demand. There's no decline in demand. In fact, there's less inventory and more people to buy. So there is no drop in price.
As far as inventory goes, everybody's talking about what is it called? The silver tsunami, where people with silver hair, baby boomers move out, right? And then all of a sudden, that's what could cause a drop in value. I think the one problem in there, the one crack in the glass that I see is elderly care facilities have always intrigued me. My grandmother was in one. The fact that it's like $7,600 a bed, I'm talking not nursing home, but right before nursing, assisted living. Homes are shelters. I think Logan always says this from Housing Wire, like 85% of people that sell homes have to go into some new home, whether they buy it or, right? Every time there's a new assisted living, the thing sells out in 2 seconds around here in New England. And then the next one coming up is like a long 3-year, 4-year, 5-year build. So until you can, it's almost like a clogged toilet. And until you can plunge out the bottom, erase that visual, but until you can plunge out the bottom, where is this silver? Where are they all going to go? And I think that is so that's why I wouldn't be afraid. I would buy until you see where it's going is a bigger problem.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like for your parents. My parents have been they put a deposit down. They put down a large 5-figure deposit, and they're still on the waiting list. 2 waiting lists, actually. One in California and one in the state of Texas, just because they don't know when they're going to get their spot. So 2 deposits in 2 different states waiting to get their spot as a senior citizen and a senior facility. And by the way, in both of their homes, they own one here in California and one in the state of Texas. They don't plan on selling. In fact, my brother and I plan on inheriting them and renting them out. So this silver tsunami of inventory, I mean, like, the whole premise right now of people wanting to purchase houses is because they want to establish legacies for themselves. That's this generation and Generation X, if they can keep the real estate. I don't see a lot of people wanting to sell real estate. In fact, I see more people wanting to keep it. So what silver tsunami? No.
There's your answer. And thank you for the question. And if you are like D. Johnson Marie and you have a question, please comment on our Instagram post and we will make sure we answer it personally. And maybe someday we'll get out the t-shirt gun and send a t-shirt to people that are asking questions. But thank you again. Always give us a subscribe and a like in the post so we can keep these coming.